Hey guys, we are back for another episode of Calf Kick Sports. A bit late, but we are breaking down the TJ Dillashaw versus Cory Sandhagen fight. Really fun fight to break down. Yeah, let's go straight into it, man. Tim, what's your thoughts?
Man, what did you think of the Olympics?
Man, I'm not even watching the Olympics. I haven't watched a single event, man. I feel like not even in judo or boxing. So yeah, I think I'm kind of burnt out, man, from sports after Euros, man. I'm done.
The time zones are really tough for us, dude. We can't watch it. It's up in the morning, and like we might catch one match or something, one game, but that's a tough time zone for us to watch anything.
I know. I'm not really interested. There's not really any big stars out there in the Olympics that I'm like, I'll definitely watch that. I mean, look, just an example. Amir Khan, when he was fighting in the Olympics, I was watching every single amateur boxing match because of him.
Right.
He eventually ended up getting silver, and I was like, oh man, that sucks. But he got silver. But there's not really anyone else, man, out there, fortunately.
No, yeah, I know what you're saying too. Yeah, they kind of sneak up on you when you're half paying attention. I know what you're saying. I wouldn't know much either.
Exactly.
I'll probably do it like a wrestling primer a little bit later on. So if you don't know much about wrestling, I think I'll do a quick write up for the men's divisions of like who these guys are, who's expected to win and stuff. Because I just want to write it out for me. And I'll just share it with everybody else as well. Keep it locked to our page. We still have the top 10 Olympians countdown to compete in MMA. Man, what else we got going on this week? If you haven't seen us, who didn't we interview this week, man?
It's been a blur, man. I mean, we had Kayla Harrison on last week. We've had, two budding prospects as well this week as well. We've got a couple more interviews and we've got some big ones coming up as well. I can't share that right now, but we've got some big ones, guys. You're going to really like it. So, keep liking, keep subscribing, and keep tuning into Calf Kick Sports.
Yeah, make sure to subscribe. Whether you're listening on Spotify or YouTube, it's all cool. Just make sure to subscribe, and we'll have lots more stuff for you next week. And now we're really going to get into the nitty-gritty controversy here of TJ Dillashaw versus Cory Sandhagen. Now, both you and I talked off air, and we both did kind of see the same thing. But okay, so we are judging a 5-round fight. 2 of the rounds for Sandhagen were very clear and very obvious, and he was very dominant. The 2 clearer rounds for Dillashaw were actually kind of close rounds. Like one of them, round 3, I thought maybe was a 10-10. Round 5 seems to be the one that everyone is split on, and that's kind of the one that we're going to break down quite a bit on. But if you're judging a fight as a whole, I think Sandhagen absolutely won it. I think it's very clear. If you're doing a one championship, judge the fight as a whole effectiveness. Sandhagen clearly won this fight. I'm not going to say it's a robbery. It's a very close fight.
I agree, man. And no, it's definitely not a robbery. I watched it twice now, and the second time I watched it, I almost think it's a draw, man. It's so close, honestly. If you're just looking at it from a sports perspective, because let's remember, it's not pride. We're not judging it by damage alone. We're judging it by octagon control. We're judging it by the pressure that TJ is putting a lot of pressure on him, and the ground control and the wrestling as well. So we are judging it by that. So I honestly could even say it's a draw. But if you were to just judge it by kind of edging it with damage, you got to go with Cory. But what a close fight, man, honestly. And just going into it a little bit more, I feel like TJ took away a lot of Cory's weapons. He stopped throwing those flying knees and the spinning attacks because TJ had a game plan to neutralize that with his wrestling. I mean, did you see that as well?
Yeah, I think it was a really good game plan from TJ to use, like he said, always aggressive and that's a good way to fight a longer boy. TJ had a significant height disadvantage in this fight and a slight reach disadvantage in this fight. So one way you can cut a person off is constantly push them against the cage. And now if you are a long boy, I think that probably worked not in your favor at the UFC Apex arena. TJ Dillashaw, I think, actually had more advantages, even though we imagine TJ being like the guy who moves out in the open, controls the center of the octagon. If you're trying to do cage cutting, you're going to do cage cutting more successfully in the small cage. And as a counter, when Sandhagen was getting aggressive, the wrestling was there for Dillashaw. And now we can talk about, yes, he did use the wrestling and he was using the clinching. Judging is based on first impact on the fight. We used to call it damage in 2017. They changed it and said, no, it's officially impact is what we're talking about here. So even if he had some slight control, now we can get into like what the official definitions are versus what our opinions are. So he was in control in the clinch. He was in control on top position. So he was technically imposing his will, but he wasn't doing anything that was impacting the fight. He wasn't landing any damage. But so where do you stand? And it's a tough thing to say. Mixed martial arts is hard to judge. He had control, but no impact. His opponent had less control during the round, but maybe had more impact on strikes. How do we actually weigh that? And I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky one. I mean, this goes all the way back to George St. Pierre days, man, when he would, they'll just be like, oh, well, he's just doing rabbit shots, and he's not actually landing anything significant or explosive to finish the fight. It's more point scoring. And I feel TJ did a very similar game plan to that. I also do remember him saying, that because his knee kind of got hyperextended from that submission attempt that Cory did, he wasn't able to put hooks in. And because he wasn't able to put hooks in, the ground control wasn't as effective. So that's interesting, man. I do feel like a lot of that got changed because of the hyperextension of his knee, and he wasn't able to kind of fold his legs in, so to speak. But yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it, Tim? He wasn't really landing like heavy shots. It was very kind of so-so punches. It wasn't anything like damaging your face or anything like that.
No, and he had the best shots. He had some good shots while standing. He secured like a couple of takedowns. He was controlling the back and the clinch. It's just, so you said a draw. You could argue for a draw, and I could absolutely see that. If you wanted to use get away from the Nevada style scoring where you just do a 10-9 unless you're dead. This is the standard thing. So you could say round one was pretty close, but I'll edge it to Dillashaw because he did slightly more, but it was very close fight. Round two, I will give that a 10-8 to Sandhagen because he did land. Yeah, he landed a knockdown. He controlled the whole round. He was so dominant.
Yeah, he did land the knockdown, but 10-8 is literally like, guy, it's a dead body. That's it. This is the thing. Unless you're literally dead, you will get a 9, even if you get outstruck like 100 to 1. You can get knocked down. As long as you're not literally a corpse, you'll get 9 points in that round. Round 3 was pretty close for Dillashaw. You can almost score it at 10-10. If we score that at 10-10, suddenly you got Sandhagen way up in this fight, right? He's ahead that one round. He wins round 4. Round 5, he can have a close round 5. But if you did 2-2 going into round 5 and you scored round 5 a draw, I have no issue with that. I think that's absolutely reasonable. Now, I think something we talked about like 10 years ago, just off the backs of Johnny Hendricks and George St. Pierre, where I don't know why judges are... Is this a sore subject for you, Tim, by the way?
Yeah, I haven't rewatched that fight. Watched it once. That was it. But judges are really hesitant to give a 10-10 round, but 10-10s might help in the sport because you really have to put an exclamation mark to win the round. If it's a very, very close round, you might win it, you might lose it. But if it's a very close round, you get a draw, you might push yourself slightly more. Now, the downside to this is athletic commissions. Keith Kaiser back in the day in interviews, he was the leader of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. He was saying, I don't hire judges to say that round was close. You wouldn't get any guy out of the audience to say, that was a close round. Sure, it's a draw. I'm paying you to be a judge. You need to pick a winner. That's your job. So guys will just pick a 10-9 round, even if it's very, very close. But so we're talking about round 2, 10-9 for Sandhagen, who scored a knockdown and controlled that round entirely, versus 10-9 in round 5, where it's almost a draw. Those aren't the same thing. But
you're right.
Exactly the same thing. They're 10-9.
Hey, that's a fantastic point. No, you're absolutely right. I mean, the judging just needs to be changed. And, if it's a close fight, I feel like firstly, I feel like damage should definitely be a deciding factor. Like Pride, damage was such an important thing in Pride. You could literally have won all the rounds, and in that third round, if the guy just mollywhops you for 6 minutes, like straight, and he almost ends your life and puts you in a coma, then I agree, man. It should definitely be the guy that wins that final round and does all the damage. In UFC, that would be a draw. How stupid is that? Like, you have 2 close rounds where the guy's winning, and then the third round is a 10-8 round to the other guy, he just mollywhops him, almost murders him. But it's a draw overall. It doesn't sit right with me, in all honesty. It's a bit silly.
It's a weird thing. And then an example of a fight that you just described is BJ Penn versus John Fitch, where BJ did really well in the first round and did pretty well in the second round, and then nearly died in the third round.
Oh my God, that should never have been a draw, man. I feel like sorry,
John Fitch is clearly the better fighter, but based on the fight, he won one round via 10-8, so it's officially a draw.
Bigger, stronger fighter, man, for sure. Like, he should have retired after that, personally, but that's another story. But man, it just doesn't make sense. Like, you got two slightly edged rounds, and then you get mollywopped. Like in the third round, you almost die, but you get a draw. It's a bit silly, man.
It's man, I don't 100% know if even what I'm saying is the right solution or if we should judge damage. I'm recognizing that there's a problem. I'm offering some solutions, but I'm not even 100% certain in the solutions that I've offered of like maybe judge 10-8s more liberally, give 10-10s more liberally. So you really have to like push the round. I don't know if that's actually the solution, but I've heard people say half points. But one of the problems,
really,
so 9.5. Or like a good round is 9, but we still end up in the same point of like, it's just a number. One of the problems, and we saw it earlier in the night with Macy Barber and the other young lady. It doesn't matter if you're giving half points. It doesn't matter if you're giving whole points. It doesn't matter if you're doing 10-10s or 10-8s. If the judge is picking the wrong fighter to win. It seems like the judges aren't always picking the right fighter. This is going off topic. What are we talking about?
I know. I mean, look, the judges that night is just horrible, man. Well, look, we should just develop our own system, man. The Tim and Ash judging system.
Man, absolutely, man. If Verdict MMA wants to sponsor us, that's fine too.
Exactly.
I don't know any of the alternate systems. Okay, so overall, TJ did focus on control and being aggressive, and it worked really, really well. Now, this fight, I think we're likely to see a rematch. This might become a trilogy with a title on the line in the future, and I think every rematch in the future would also be in a bigger cage. How do you see these two will probably fight again? How do you see the future of these two playing out?
I genuinely, I definitely agree with you, Tim. I do see a trilogy bout in the future. With Cory, he even said, look, I'm still one shot away from a title, and Sean Shelby promised him that. So let's see, man. And I think he deserves it. In all honesty, if it's a case where, just throwing in this scenario out, like for example, you've got Petr Yan and Aljo, they're about to fight. One of them pulls out. TJ jumps in. TJ wins the belt. You can argue that they're going to do Cory TJ as an immediate rematch without Cory having to fight anyone. And I agree with that. I think that's perfect.
That's absolutely reasonable. I'm 100% okay with that. I think it sets it up for, that's a really good storyline as well.
Amazing storyline.
And in a rematch, in a bigger cage, 5 rounds we're doing again. How do you see a different match playing out?
I think Cory's putting him to sleep, man. Only because he knows the adjustments he's got to make. I mean, be a bit more orthodox. Firstly, he was having massive success, as the commentators pointed out, with orthodox strikes. And as soon as he started doing spinning shit and elbows and flying knees and stuff, he wasn't as successful. I mean, he did land a flying knee on TJ, but then he gave away a takedown. So I think just clean it up, make it a bit more orthodox. I think he potentially could finish TJ in the second fight, but here's the big but. TJ hasn't fought for 2.5 years. This is his first fight in 2.5 years. And he still looked like a world beater, man. He still looked like elite level quality. I do feel like the next 2 fights are going to be a bit more telling. And we'll figure out, what TJ we're going to be seeing, man. That TJ was a bit rusty, in all honesty. It's just a rusty TJ.
I thought that too. And I know Dominic Cruz on the broadcast was going back to his old narrative of ring rust doesn't exist, but it absolutely does. And we saw it in the TJ fight here, where TJ was previously, for various reasons, was a fourth and fifth round. We don't have to talk about it. For whatever reason that was. Now that the UFC kept going back to it on the broadcast, not like they made a episode of a TV show about how TJ's really the victim here, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I know, man. Oh, he's been out for 2 years. And look, I love TJ, I'm probably one of those few people that actually love TJ as a fighter. I was super hurt, man, when he got popped, man. And when he popped, and then he admitted after, I was like, you dickhead. Like, why would you do that, man? You're just tarnishing your legacy, like, completely.
Yeah.
But look, it's going to be interesting, man. He's off the EPO, hopefully. And he's off the steroids and all that stuff.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows, man? But look, I'm very curious to see what kind of TJ we're going to get in the next fight, because I feel like that's more of a truer version of TJ at that point.
Yeah, I think so too. So he's got multiple fights where he's got TKOs in championship rounds, because his pace he used to slaughter people on that pace. And in the 4th and 5th round, he wasn't slowing down. And we saw in this fight, like he said, like, oh, I know I'm getting lazy. I know. I feel it. I'm getting lazy here. My knee is broken in half. That sucks.
Yeah.
And then in the 4th and 5th round, he was slowing down quite a bit. I don't know if the next fight, those adjustments might be fixed and we get a really different fight, but I think the bigger cage will make a big difference. And I think the bigger cage will favor Sandhagen so that he's getting cut off that much less. He's able to retreat, looking more like Dominic Cruz was in their TJ Dillashaw fight. But yeah, it's a fun little fight. But you also said if he beats Yan, this is a tall order. A TJ Dillashaw versus Petr Yan. We're already writing off Sterling.
Oh, come on, man.
Go ahead on this.
Sterling. So look, I would laugh. And you know what? I would love it. I'll be honest. I would love it, yeah, if Sterling proves everyone wrong and he just smashes everyone, man, for like 10 fights. Imagine that. Like he beats the shit out of Yan. Like he finishes him in the first round. And then the next few fights, he's just smashing everyone. Like what a turnaround, man. That would be like a comeback story in a way, because no one respects him as the champion. He's probably the most, diluted UFC champion of all time. I mean, I can think of Montana and Jermaine Durandamy being kind of diluted champions, but my God, man, like Aljo, I mean, to win by DQ and get the championship belt, that's crazy. But yeah, I mean, Jan's going to probably destroy him. And I do feel like TJ will have an easier fight against Yan than he would have against Cory.
Man, we used to talk about Takanori Gomi was the paper champion, man. If they knew what a paper champion looked like. This is why a championship belt, we saw this with, I forget what website just put up their rankings, but a championship belt doesn't necessarily mean you're number one in the weight class. You are the champion by all. There's no doubt you have the official title, but you're not. Maybe we'll do a Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling. It's booked finally for October 30th. We're finally moving forward on the Bantamweight division.
Yes,
how do you see this fight playing out? What do you think of this one?
I think, have you seen Petr Yan lately in training? Have you seen him?
No, tell me everything.
Oh my God, man. He looks so savage, man. He looks like he's ready to take someone's head off, man. Clean. And I think we're going to get a more aggressive Petr Yan. I feel like, he's going to come out to kill Aljo, man. And I really hope Aljo's prepared. Aljo needs to stop doing that kind of... I mean, he was wasting a lot of energy in that first fight with Petr Yan. So I'm still banking on Yan, man. I think Jan's going to finish him TKO in the 4th round as well.
In their first fight, I did pick Aljamain. I think he was just a whirlwind fighter. And I was technically correct, by the way. And he did
you were right,
win. I was right. I just want to remind you, I was right. He was on like a 5-fight win streak by that point. A bunch of finishes in a row, like such fast submissions. He's also massive for the weight class, especially compared to Petr Yan. Yeah. Everything that Yan did, he got either a knockdown or a takedown. Like he was an efficient striker. He landed fewer strikes in that fight and still got knockdowns. He still got takedowns. Everything he did, he was in full control. He looked so good. And I think he really encapsulates that cold-blooded Russian, the guy who's he's like,
man, I love it.
He's closer to Baby Fedor than like Cyril.
He is Baby Fedor, mate.
Baby Fedor.
Like
right?
Even that Russian music he came out to, against like, oh, that is so damn Russian, man. And like even Rogan was like, I feel like the rooms went colder.
I like Peter, and he only speaks a little bit of English, but it seems like the English that he does speak, all he can say is like, "I'm gonna kill you."
No. I mean, the Twitter account. If that's actually him, yeah, mate, he's undefeated on Twitter. Like, Jesus, man, like it's so damn good. I hope it's him that makes those tweets because. Before the fight, I actually didn't really like Petr Yan that much. I don't know why. Whatever. And after the fight, I was like, okay, look, he performed really well. To be fair, he did smash Aldo. Like, he destroyed Aldo badly. Yep. And he's been looking good, man. I mean, before that, he didn't really have that many great wins. Like, he had Uriah Faber, who's about 45 years old.
Yes.
So it's not really, it wasn't that credible. And then he faced Aljo, and I'm like, yeah, this guy's for real, man. Like he's 100% for real. Like he could be the next, reigning, defending kind of dominant champion, which would be crazy at bantamweight. But yeah, I don't know, man. We'll see, man. We'll see. Time will tell.
And how good is that bantamweight division, man? Look at this, like Petr Yan, Dillashaw, Sandhagen, Rob Font just out jabbed Garbrandt, Aldo, Garbrandt, Moraes, Edgar, Pedro Munoz, Dominic Cruz. I'm only at number 10. Crazy. You just hit Dominic Cruz, dude. Mirab Dirashvili, excuse my pronunciation. The Goat Maker, Rafael Assunção, Jimmy Rivera, Marlon Vera, Cody Stamen.
Man.
We're not even to Sugar Sean O'Malley yet. Like, man, this division is insane. So I'm excited that we finally get some movement on it.
I would like to know the average age of that is. I might try and work that out, but the average age here surely can't be any older than 27, 28.
That's young person's division.
It's a very, very young person's division. You look at lightweight and, you're getting old people, man. You're getting older fighters now. You're getting Dustin Poirier, he's 32, probably got like 2 years left. Same with Conor, same with, even Charles Oliveira, man, probably be done in 2-3 years' time. Whereas this division, bantamweight, you could see people fighting on for like 5-6 years. Easy.
Man, Petr Yan, he has an old man's face. He was born in 1993. He's a young lad.
God damn, man.
He's a young man.
Yeah.
But okay, so would you see, as we're setting it up, the TJ Dillashaw versus Petr Yan fight? What does this fight kind of look like to you?
I actually think, I think TJ's winning that. I'm going to actually go with TJ for this one, purely because more diverse striking. I mean, I know Pierre Yan's got kicks and stuff, but the kicks that TJ throws and the looks that he throws, it's just so much more diverse. He'll start switching stances in him. He'll confuse him, throw those nice body kicks. And this time, because Yan is not as tall as Cory Sandhagen, I do feel like we're going to see more of those signature Superman punches that TJ was trying to land. He tried to do that twice on Cory, and he was miles away, man. So we'll see a little bit more diverse striking from him. And also, I do feel like he's going to go for the takedown as well. I don't think Pierre Yan is an exceptionally amazing grappler or anything like that. It's more of a striker. So again, I think TJ is going to go for those takedowns and mix it up for sure. But yeah, I've got TJ all day, man, in that fight.
It's an interesting matchup because it almost looks like for TJ with his stance switching, shifting entry, and then remember I was talking about the pivoting on the clock kind of thing.
Yeah,
Petr Yan might accidentally play really well into that because he's a little bit stiff and he's more of the attitude of I control the center and you have to come at me. Well, TJ's perfect for that. Like TJ will outstrike anyone who does that because that's what the champion who had 33 wins in a row was doing. He's just like, control the center, you're gonna have to come at me. But Yan, I think, is quite strong. They might match really well in the clinch. He's a combat sambo background and he's got a lot of strong takedowns in the clinch. Like you said, grappling on the ground definitely would go to the D1 wrestler in Dillashaw. But yeah, I think that's a really fun, interesting fight. And like you said, Dillashaw might just outpace, outstrike him, just be a little bit faster, cutting off the cage a little bit better. But Petr Yan, he's an efficient striker. He might land one punch around and win the whole round kind of thing, right? Like he's that kind of striker. So I'm looking forward to that matchup, but we won't see it till next year. We're going to be old men by that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it'll be like early next year. And apparently it might be in Russia. But we'll see, man. Imagine Aljo just starches him, man. I'm completely looking past Aljo. I probably shouldn't, but yeah, I mean, if Aljo beats him, then it'll be TJ versus Aljo. What do you think of that?
Love it.
We're not even considering that. We're not even considering that. TJ versus
Aljo. I know. I didn't see that. But yeah, Aljamain Sterling, I would love if those flying knees were landing over and over again. If he gets a flying knee knockout against Yan, that'd be great. If he jumps on the back and he's so good at advancing positions when he's grappling of I know I moved to this position and I'm looking for this submission while I'm here. If he does that to Yan, he can get a rear naked choke. He can get maybe an armbar. That'd be awesome to do. Whether or not he can, but against Dillashaw, I think Dillashaw probably almost certainly has a better chance of beating Sterling than Yan. I think his striking is head and shoulders above where Sterling is. His Sterling striking leaves a lot to be desired, you know?
Yeah, I mean, he leaves himself open like a lot. I mean, the thing is, Aljo is a brilliant fighter. His only real loss was against Marlon Moraes, I feel. This 2 split decision losses to Assunção and Caraway could have gone either way. So whatever, it is what it is with those losses. Obviously, there's the loss to Yan, but we're not even going to count that as a loss because guy just took a DQ. But yeah, I mean, he leaves himself to getting hit a lot, man, honestly. And against TJ Dillashaw, such an accurate striker, might be a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I think Dillashaw would certainly almost gets it done in that kind of timeline. But the rest of the division, awesome. So what would you do? We got a Rob Font floating out there. We got a Jose Aldo. We got a Garbrandt floating out there. We still got Sandhagen
Cory
one fight away from a title.
Cory versus Font co-main event of the title fight, man.
Hell yeah. I'm 100% into that. That sounds great.
Awesome.
You got some long boys, some good jabs. Oh man, that'd be a good stance switching fight. I mean, I'm very into that fight right there.
I think bantamweight's become my favorite division, Tim. You just look
100%.
at that and you're like, wow, what a bunch of like welterweight was very, very stacked until Usman decided to knock everyone out. And then you got lightweight, where let's be honest, if Poirier beats Charles Oliveira, he'd probably be the probably a long defending champion at lightweight. Featherweight is fairly stacked. You got some killers there. That's probably the second most stacked division. Flyweight is completely dead. And then you go in the you go in the upper leagues, and it's like not really much, man. Middleweight is kind of moving along, not that much. Light heavyweight is still in the shadow of Jon Jones. And heavyweight division, oh my god, man, that's very weak right now. I'll be honest.
Hey, did you see Derek Lewis the other day? And I'll post it on the Instagram probably by the time this goes up. Of like, man, if you heavyweights let me become the champion, you guys should just relocate. This is embarrassing. I'm the champion.
Yeah, that is brilliant, man. Oh my god, I love Derek Lewis for that. Like he actually said, you all relocate. Go back to 205. Go to 205. Yeah,
it's embarrassing. You let me win. But yeah, no, it's a great division. Like, and probably set up a Garbrandt Aldo fight. I think that's a winnable fight for Aldo. I don't even care what you do with the rest of the division. Maybe Dominic Cruz
going
versus
to 125.
Aldo.
Actually,
what?
Yeah, he's going to 125. He's actually moving down a division.
Okay, let's do Aldo Dominic Cruz then. That's probably a better fight anyway. That's
awesome. Two legends.
But yeah, so later next week, we're probably gonna have some more interviews up. Make sure to check out the interviews that we already have on the channel. Make sure to subscribe. But also, we're gonna be breaking down the heavyweight interim title fight because I don't think we're gonna talk about Hall Strickland. I'm sorry,
it's a fun fight. I definitely will be watching. But look, there's ONE FC this weekend. I'd rather watch that in all honesty. I think
Bellator's got a strong card.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's a very strong card. I mean, I like Sean Strickland. I think he's a brilliant fighter, and I like Uriah Hall, but doesn't really do it for me to watch the whole main card. But it's on early. It's on early, so you can watch it a bit earlier.
Yeah, K1 Heroes Honey Yaya is in the co-main event, which should tell you everything you need to know about the quality of this card.
Main event, really? Wow.
Yeah, because there's been so many people dropping out that Honey Yaya is now the co-main. But yeah, we got Cyril Gaunt versus Derek Lewis, which we'll be breaking down. It's a fun fight to break down. Heavyweights are very easy to break down.
The new heavyweight champion, man, Cyril Gaunt. I'm telling you, bro, he's gonna beat Francis. I think he genuinely will.
Man, maybe, man. You might honestly be
Tim's
right.
not convinced. He's like, whatever, man, whatever.
Yeah. And he's the kind of guy that I would love. You know what I mean? He uses a lot of front kicks, a lot of jabs, a lot of distance control, and a lot of movement. That guy would play in my wheelhouse. I think it's just like, you like him? So I'm like, no, fuck that guy. That guy sucks.
No, but this is the thing, people don't like him because he's not a finisher. But if you go up against a very aggressive striker like Francis Ngannou, and you have success against him, the finishes will come, man. 100%. It will come.
Man, but that's fair. And being a non-finisher, I would never criticize a fighter for it's fine. You won the fight, dude. It's a sport. It's not a fight, I would say. But you are a heavyweight. I don't know. Maybe we'll discuss it more next week. That's actually fun. I didn't even think about that. All right. What else do we need to know? My name's Tim Wheaton. Check me out, Tim Wheaton MMA. You can check out Calf Kick Sports, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, whatever. We're everywhere, man. We're all over the place. You can follow me on TikTok. Ash, play us out. What do we got going on?
Oh, guys. Next week it's gonna be even more hectic than this week, believe it or not. A lot of upcoming interviews, and as soon as I got confirmation of who we've got on, you guys will love it, and I'll definitely put that up on our feed as well. But make sure you guys like, subscribe, do all that kind of stuff. Ideally we would like to be YouTube millionaires and live in a great live in a great big mansion and never have to work again the rest of our lives. But
and it's especially tough. It's especially hard because all of our videos are demonetized because we use a copywritten song as our intro. So it's a long road we got to go.
Guys, please subscribe. I gotta feed my kids. I don't have any kids, but I gotta feed my kids. Great, yeah. All right, guys. Have a good one. We're out of here. We'll see you guys next week.